I think that there's got to go back to the conversation we had a couple weeks ago about ladies assessing the landscape. I believe that the men on this panel may just be a little bit more. We just have a different level of reach. Most of us has never had problems with women, so it's a different experience when you're a man that just can kind of get women at a whim, and we can operate from a place of, I can let her go because it's not, without us being able to maybe replace or get somebody of equal value or whatever, right? But I'm saying that to say a lot of times I think women are already being prepped for a wife, whether that man is telling her or not. And sometimes she does something that is so egregious that disqualifies her. Now, on the side to where men may need to be a little bit bolder, maybe more mature, and be like, look, I seen you this way, you did this, we can no longer move forward. I don't think that happens quite often, but I can overwhelmingly tell you that a lot of times women are being prepped for just that. If the man is marriage minded, if he's someone who is intentional, you're already being prepped. The introductions to the family, the friends, his deepest hobbies, why would he do that if he had no intention on you being there long term? But what tends to happen is, just in classic female fashion, they gotta do something that either gives them, I guess, a sense of balance, of control, whether it's a girl's trip or something along them lines will occur. And he may be offended at the deepest level and not know how to convey that. I knew a young lady one time who was dating a dude for 2.5 years. This dude would have moved mountain for her. She told him he would never come before her family. And that broke him because he couldn't understand. He's like, what do you mean? If I marry you, we locked in. She said, no, husbands come and go. My family is always going to be. And that was it for him. They stayed together maybe a year past that point, but she was disqualified. What happened?
That's his problem. What do you mean he stayed together with?
As soon as she said
right,
he should have walked away.
No, I agree. But I'm saying that those scenarios, and from what I've heard, has happened more often than not. Maybe not to her verbalizing this, but it could be a girl's trip. It could be he needed her, but her friend needed her at the same time, and she chose the friend. These things happen all the time. So I think a lot of times women are more closer to getting the ring, getting the commitment, and they somehow, some way screwed up or disqualify themselves.
But my question is, have you ever had someone who didn't disqualify themselves that you still didn't choose? That's the question that I'm asking. Is, have you ever had, Marcus already said yes, mine already said yes. There are people who did not disqualify themselves. You can't pinpoint what it is. She did, she was good, but you was just like, nah, I'm not trying to take it there.
You asking me directly?
Yeah. I mean, I asked everybody. I think Marcus already said, Willie already said, Mont said. So the question is, like, have you had it where someone didn't disqualify themselves and they were good, but you just still weren't feeling it?
It's split, true. Okay.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That go ahead. I'm sorry.
I have a question. This is what True said earlier. It's the wrong question. When we say that people, we're implying that people did something to disqualify themselves, and that's not all that can happen. Sometimes these timing can be disqualifying, and that's on both people. So those boxes that nobody has had someone that checked all the boxes that would require them to do a thing, because if they had, then they would have done the thing. Because if the criteria is these 10 items, and if they have these 10 items, we're saying that we will do item 11, which is get married or whatever, and we didn't do that, either we are liars or they didn't do all the things. So we can't, the idea that the box is not being checked is only for the other person to do is where, I'm saying that that's my issue with the logic, because some of those boxes we have to check solely. For example, Shan can say, to her dude, one of her boxes could be Shan could have never been a hoe. Right, so Shan carries herself, and she doesn't carry herself like a hoe. She's a classy lady, right? But she can only show him. He has to check that box off, though. She has to convince him that that's what the case is, and he checks that box off. So I think that we take away the autonomy or the ownership from both sides in this, and only assign it to the person who's actually the man.
Shan, go ahead. I know you was waiting.
Yeah, so I wanted wanted to say something what Marcus said, and this is the reason why I said what I said about the sex, right? Marcus stated, and it has nothing to do with the guys, okay? It has everything to do with most women. Not all women, most women. One of the things Marcus said was he was in a relationship, the girl really was feeling him, but she kept trying to win him over, right? Most women, when they have relationship with you sexually, they grow an emotional attachment to you, which means that anything you do after that point, they're gonna hold on. They're emotionally involved with you. Y'all already know that. You know how you got a woman and you can pretty much say anything to her, she's still gonna be there. And that's the reason why I want women to understand how powerful sex is to them. We are not guys. Men can go around. I firmly believe this. Now every woman is different. I believe the more you do it, the more you're numb to it. So I'm just saying. But for the most part, most women, when they are sexually intimate with a guy, they grow emotional feelings for that guy, right? And so they start to think emotionally, and it's hard for them to leave. Marcus just said it was hard for her to leave. I think that's with most women, and that's why I say if you took sex away off the table, she could think more logically, not emotionally. Because once she has sex with you, and you're in a relationship, and even though True is like, nah, we've already checked you out, she's already got in her mind that she wants to be with you. Okay, so it doesn't matter. All she's gonna do now is try to persuade you that she is the one, but you've already checked out and said she's not the one, and that's wasted time, and that happens a lot to women.
I agree with that. I agree with that, Shan, wholeheartedly.
Whether they want to admit that or not, and that's the only reason I said sex should probably be.
But do you know what?
We can't handle it like y'all can. We just can't.
Telling women to not have sex with men, like what you really tell them to do is tell them to walk that tightrope between two skyscrapers with no safety net. Because now you have to be perfect. You have to go in there. You have to be worth dealing with. You can't use sex because sex clouds both sides. So you have to go in there and be worth his time and effort, attention, and commitment without the primary benefit that you can give him as a partner or a companion. That is not something that I would say 10% of women can do. So while that would work, it's literally taking the safety net from women. Because again, a lot of y'all, if women in mass were so good and they were so desirable, they would have men and be getting married at higher percentages. The percentages tell you what percentage of women are. So we'll say it's that 26% you said, right? Of that 26%, I would say that maybe 10% of that 26% could afford or get those same results without having sex on the table while they were dating those men.
Shan, do you think that what you were saying might be a bit outdated as far as like modern women are concerned? Because that same
So I
imprint,
think that the logic
woman
is
used
still.
to have.
I think modern
only
women
reason I
are
say that-
still. I think modern women are still women, right? I think that what has happened is they're trying to play a male's game. I think that it's so think. I know. Just play along with me, okay? I could be wrong. Women have this thing. They like to tell you what they think you want to hear. Okay, I can do that too. I'm just like that. They're like, oh, I'm saying I can do it because they know that the man wants to hear that. They lead with that. It's almost like an indirect pick me, but it's not like it's because who leads with that? Like if you are the bomb, you ain't got to be like I'm sexual. You just show up being the bomb, right? It's almost like they're trying to prove something or trying to beat a man at a man's game. Does that make sense?
How old
I
are these
understand.
women?
I understand what you're saying, but the only reason I was saying that is because I don't think that.
But they're losing.
As many of the younger women have. I don't think as many as the younger women have that ability to peer bond how you're describing, because they are, more sexually active as far as our partners are concerned, and they're desensitized to it.
But that's a consequence of that. That's a consequence.
Right.
That comes. Unfortunately, when you do that, you're right. You start to lose that ability to,
to peer bond. Correct.
But where does the women step in to know how to teach the women what they should be given? If we're gonna remove sex, which not gonna happen, but let's just say in some alternative universe, that sex is no longer an option pre-marriage. Well, what are you going to teach the young ladies to be bringing? Because that to me is really, it's not the sex. I mean, come on, y'all, let's be honest. Sex is amazing, but you don't spend that much time in the bedroom. The experience of the woman is the experience of her. The man marries who she is. He marries what she brings, not the sex. That's a byproduct. We know we're going to get sex. So it seems like there's a disconnect to what are the women, the young ladies, I don't know what age range we're going to, tackle, but what is it to Willie's point? How do you become the 10% woman? How do you captivate a man without your vagina, without your mouth, without the sexuality?
I think you just mentioned it though. I think you listen to a man. I could tell a woman how to treat a man, but I'm not a man. You just told us everything that men want, right? At least what you want. And that's where you go. You talk to men, fathers, it has to be just more than the women, because obviously we're getting it wrong.
Mm-hmm.
We think we know what you want. Obviously, we don't know what you want. We can teach you what we do, and this is what works, But it would be great to talk to a man about men. I would assume, right? I'm just.